The Great Hall of the Galactic Assembly looked different now. 2 months ago, it had been full of life. 10,000 delegates from across the stars, talking, arguing, making deals. The ceiling had glowed with lights representing every member world. The air had hummed with the sound of 1,000 different languages. Now the hall was mostly empty. The lights were dim. Many seats were broken or burned. The painted ceiling had cracks running through it like veins. Only a few hundred delegates remained, and they looked like ghosts of who they used to be. Ambassador Tay walked to the speaking platform for the second time. His footsteps echoed in the silence, just as they had before. But everything else was different. This time, no one stared at him with anger or pride. This time, every eye held the same emotion. Hope. Beside him stood his team. Commander Hannah, who had led the withdrawal. Admiral Sum, who had held the border. General Ho, who had kept humanity safe during the long silence. Captain Yuna, who had watched the galaxy fall apart from her station window. And Young Wan, who had served Tay faithfully through everything. On the other side of the platform stood the wealthy elder. The creature that had once seemed tall and mighty now looked bent and tired. Its gray bark was cracked. Its branches hung low. It had come to Earth 3 weeks ago, alone and humble, and it had talked with Tay for hours every day. Now it was time to announce what they had agreed. People of the Assembly, Tay began. His voice was the same as before, soft but clear. 60 years ago, humanity discovered we were not alone in the universe. We came to you with hope and wonder. We wanted to be your friends. He paused and looked around the damaged hall. You rejected us. You mocked us. You took everything you could and gave nothing in return. When we built great things, you demanded we surrender them. When we refused, you threatened us. The delegates shifted uncomfortably. Some lowered their eyes in shame. We walked away. For 2 months, we watched you struggle. We watched your economies collapse. We watched your people suffer. We watched you fight each other over scraps. His voice grew harder. Part of me wanted to let you destroy yourselves. Part of me remembered every insult, every attack, every human life lost to your cruelty. Part of me thought you deserved everything that happened. Silence filled the hall. But I'm not here to give you what you deserve. I am here to give you something better. I am here to give you a future. He gestured to the wealthy elder. The creature stepped forward slowly, its translator device glowing. I speak for the Assembly, the elder said. Its voice was weak but steady. We were wrong. Everything we did to humanity was wrong. We treated you as servants when we should have treated you as equals. We took when we should have shared. We demanded when we should have asked. It bowed its tall body, branches touching the floor. We offer complete surrender of all demands. Humanity owes us nothing. We ask only that you return. Not as servants. Not as resources. As partners. As leaders. As the backbone of a new galaxy. The delegates watched in stunned silence. The most powerful species in known space was bowing to humanity. It was something none of them had ever imagined possible. Tay nodded slowly. Humanity accepts your offer. But things will be different now. We will not simply go back to the way things were. The old agreements are dead. The old structures are dead. We will build something new. He pressed a button on his wrist device. The cracked ceiling flickered, then came alive with new images. They showed human ships, but not warships. Supply vessels. Medical transports. Engineering teams. Starting today, human aid ships will enter assembly space. They will bring food to the starving. They will bring medicine to the sick. They will bring engineers to repair what is broken. The delegates gasped. Some began to cry. Others fell to their knees in relief. But this is not charity, Tay continued. This is investment. We will help you, but you will work beside us. Your people will learn from our people. Your scientists will study with our scientists. Your workers will train with our workers. We will teach you to stand on your own. He looked directly at the wealthy elder. No more dependency. No more taking without giving. No more masters and servants. From this day forward, the galaxy will be built on equality. True equality, where every species contributes and every species benefits. The elder raised its branches. We accept everything. Whatever humanity asks, we will give. I do not want you to give, Tay said. I want you to grow. I want you to become better than you were. I want my grandchildren to live in a galaxy where no species is treated the way humanity was treated. He turned to face all the delegates. Some of you still hate us. I know this. You resent that we are strong while you are weak. You remember when you were the masters and we were nothing. You dream of a day when things will go back to the way they were. His eyes were hard. That day will never come. We will never be weak again. We will never trust blindly again. We will never forget what you did. But we are also not your enemy. We do not want to rule you or destroy you. We only want to live in peace. He raised his voice so it echoed through the entire hall. The next time anyone in this galaxy thinks about threatening humanity, I want them to remember these 2 months. Remember how fast everything fell apart without us. Remember how easily we walked away. Remember that we came back because we chose to, not because we had to. He lowered his voice again. We are offering you our hand. Take it, work with us. Build a better future with us. But never, ever, mistake our kindness for weakness. We are kind because we are strong, not the other way around. The hall was silent for a long moment. Then, slowly, the delegates began to stand. One by one, they raised their various limbs, tentacles, wings, and branches in gestures of respect and agreement. The wealthy elder turned to the assembly. All in favor of accepting humanity's terms? Every being in the hall responded. The vote is complete, the elder announced. The Galactic Assembly accepts humanity's terms, unanimously, without reservation. From this day forward, humanity is not just a member of this assembly. Humanity is its heart. Tay nodded. He did not smile. He did not celebrate. This was not a victory. It was a beginning. A chance to build something that had never existed before. Commander Hannah, he said, open the borders. Let the aid ships through. Yes, sir. Hannah sent the order. Across the galaxy, human ships that had been waiting began to move. They carried enough food to feed billions. Enough medicine to save millions. Enough hope to light a path through the darkness. Behind Tay, young Juan watched with wide eyes. He had never seen anything like this. A galaxy surrendering to a species it had once dismissed as primitive. A species showing mercy to those who had shown it none. Sir, he whispered, what happens now? Tay looked at the stars visible through the cracked ceiling. Now we teach them what we learned the hard way. That strength without kindness is just cruelty. That kindness without strength is just weakness. That true power comes from knowing when to fight and when to help. He placed a hand on one shoulder. It will take generations. There will be setbacks. Some will try to cheat us again. Some will hate us forever. But slowly, step by step, we will build something worth building. A galaxy where our great-grandchildren can travel without fear. A galaxy where no one is treated as less because of how they were born. He smiled, finally, just a little. That is what we walked away for. And that is what we came back for. Outside the hall, the first human aid ships were already landing. Hungry beings were already eating real food for the first time in weeks. Sick beings were already receiving medicine that would save their lives. Broken machines were already being fixed by human hands and alien hands working together. It would not be easy. Nothing worth building ever is. But humanity had always been good at building things. And this time, they would build something that would last. The end. Captain Yuna stood at the observation window of Border Station 5. She was tired. Her eyes hurt from watching screens all day. Her heart hurt from what those screens showed her. Beyond the invisible line that marked human space, the galaxy was dying. She could see the ships. Hundreds of them. Thousands. They drifted toward the border like leaves blown by wind. Some were cargo vessels with empty holds. Some were passenger ships packed with refugees. Some were military cruisers that had run out of fuel and could barely move. They all wanted the same thing. They wanted in. "Captain," said her communications officer, a quiet man named Day, "we have received 347 requests for asylum today. That is more than yesterday." "I know. What should I tell them?" Yuna closed her eyes. The protocol was clear. No one crosses the border. No exceptions. But looking at those ships, knowing the people inside them were starving, dying, afraid, she wondered if the protocol was right. "Tell them to wait," she said. "Tell them we are still processing requests." It was a lie. There were no requests being processed. The border was closed. But she could not bring herself to say the truth. The truth was too cruel. Across the galaxy, civilization was falling apart. The Ring Collective had been first. Their economy depended on human food. Without it, their people began to starve within weeks. The government tried to ration what little they had, but it was not enough. Riots broke out in every major city. The military tried to restore order, but hungry soldiers are not loyal soldiers. By the end of the first month, the Rin Collective had 3 different governments fighting for control. The wealthy were next. Their energy grid had been designed by human engineers. When the humans left, they took their knowledge with them. Small problems became big problems. Big problems became disasters. Power stations exploded. Cities went dark. Millions of wealthy, creatures who needed warmth to survive, froze to death in their own homes. Species that had hated each other for centuries now fought over scraps. The Torah attacked the Rin for their remaining food supplies. The Rin attacked the wealthy for their fuel reserves. The wealthy attacked everyone because they had nothing left to lose. The Galactic Assembly met every day, but no one listened anymore. The Great Hall that had once held 10,000 delegates now held barely 100. Most leaders were too busy fighting wars or hiding from their own citizens to attend meetings. On Earth, the news reports showed everything. Humans watched their screens with mixed feelings. Some felt satisfied. "This is what happens when you treat people badly," they said. Some felt sad. "Those are innocent beings dying," they said. Some felt scared. "What if this spreads to us?" General Ho watched the reports in his office at military headquarters. He was an old man with white hair and a face like stone. He had fought more battles than he could count. He had seen death in every form. But this was different. This was not a war. This was a collapse. An entire galaxy eating itself because it had forgotten how to survive without humanity's help. His aide, a young officer named Sue, entered the room. "General, the wealthy elder has arrived on Earth. Ambassador Tay is meeting with him now." "What is the elder's condition?" Sue hesitated. "Not good, sir. He looks sick, weak. Our doctors say he is suffering from malnutrition." "The leader of the most powerful species in the galaxy is starving?" "Yes, sir. It seems the wealthy leadership gave their food to the common people first. They have been living on almost nothing for weeks." General Ho leaned back in his chair. This was unexpected. He had always thought the wealthy were selfish, caring only about their own power. But a leader who starved himself to feed his people? That was something different. What about their military? Any signs of aggression toward human space? No, sir. Sir. The wealthy fleet is scattered. Most of their ships have no fuel. They could not attack us even if they wanted to. And the other species? Sue pulled up a report on her tablet. The Rin have collapsed completely. 3 factions are fighting for control, but none of them have the resources to win. The Tora have sealed their borders and are trying to survive alone. The smaller species are either begging for help or disappearing into uncharted space. General Ho nodded slowly. What about the Kel? The Kel were different from other species. They had always been friendly to humans. They had spoken against the Assembly's demands. They had voted no when everyone else voted yes, and now they were suffering along with everyone else. The Kel are managing better than most, Sue said. They had good relations with humanity, so they learned some of our agricultural techniques, but they are still struggling. Their ambassador has sent several messages asking if we can help. Have we responded? No, sir. Ambassador Tay says we cannot show favoritism. If we help the Kel, every species will demand the same. The general understood the logic, but it still felt wrong. The Kel had been friends, real friends, and friends should help each other. Sir, Sue said carefully, may I speak freely? Go ahead. Some people are saying we have made our point. The galaxy understands now. They know they cannot threaten us. Maybe it is time to open negotiations, before more people die. General Ho looked at her for a long moment. She was young, idealistic. She had grown up in a world where humanity was strong and safe. She had never seen the dark years when human colonists were treated like slaves. Do you know what the Rin did to Colony 4? He asked. No, sir. They poisoned the water supply. 3,000 humans died. Children, parents, grandparents. The Rin said it was an accident. Then they sold us clean water for 10 times the normal price. Sue said nothing. Do you know what the Velthi did when we asked for help fighting the plague on Colony 12? No, sir. They laughed. They said it would teach us to be humble. 800 people died while they laughed. He stood and walked to the window. I do not enjoy watching the galaxy suffer. I do not want innocent beings to die. But I also remember what they did to us when we were weak. I remember every insult, every attack, every dead child. He turned back to face her. This is not revenge. This is a lesson. A lesson they need to learn if there is ever going to be real peace. The lesson is simple. Humanity is not a servant. Humanity is not a resource. Humanity is an equal. And until they accept that, we will not save them from the consequences of their own choices. Sue lowered her head. I understand, sir. Good. Now go. I need to think. She left the room. General. Ho sat back down and stared at the reports on his screen. Numbers, statistics, death counts, resources lost. Systems failed. Behind the numbers were real beings. Mothers who could not feed their children. Workers who had done nothing wrong except be born in the wrong species. Young ones who would never grow up because their leaders had been too proud to treat humans with basic respect. It was not fair, but then, the galaxy had never been fair to humanity either. Outside his window, the stars continued to shine. They did not care about politics or revenge or starving children. They just burned, as they have for billions of years, as they would for billions more. Somewhere in that darkness, a galaxy was dying, and humanity watched, and waited, and wondered if the lesson would finally be learned. Admiral Soong sat in his command chair aboard the Eternal Watch, Earth's largest warship. Through the thick glass of his window, he could see the border. On one side was human space, safe, quiet, peaceful. On the other side was the rest of the galaxy. Chaos. It had been 3 weeks since humanity walked away. 3 weeks of silence. Every day, alien ships came to the border. They sent messages. They begged. They pleaded. They threatened. Admiral Soong ignored them all. His orders were clear. No communication. No exceptions. "Admiral," said his communications officer, a woman named Sora, "we have another fleet approaching. 12 ships. Rin Collective. Weapons? Armed, but weapons are not active. They are broadcasting a message requesting permission to cross into human space. Deny them." "Yes, Admiral." Soong watched the Rin ships on his screen. They were beautiful vessels, designed for speed and grace. But they were also dangerous. The Rin had always hated humanity. They were jealous of human success, angry that a young species had accomplished what they could not. Now they were desperate. "Admiral," Sora said again, "the lead ship is requesting to speak with you directly. The captain says he has an important message from the Ring Council. I do not care. He says the message concerns lives. Millions of lives. He's begging." Soong closed his eyes. This was the hardest part. The waiting. The listening to creatures who had treated humans like garbage, now crying for help. Part of him wanted to say yes. Part of him wanted to open the borders and let the food ships through. But he remembered too much. He remembered the Rin laughing when human colonists died from a plague they could have cured. He remembered Rin merchants poisoning water supplies to force humans to buy from them. He remembered Rin soldiers watching human children starve while they ate feasts. "Tell them no," he said. "Tell them to go home." The Rin fleet waited at the border for 6 hours. Then they turned around and left. They would be back tomorrow. They always came back. On Earth, life continued as normal. The planet was green and beautiful. Cities sparkled with light. Children played in parks. Farmers tended their fields. Factories hummed with activity. There was no panic, no fear. Humanity had prepared for this moment for decades. In a small office in the capital city, Ambassador Tay read reports from across human space. Every colony was stable. Every station was secure. The withdrawal had been perfect. Not a single human had been left behind. His assistant, a young man named Juan, brought him tea. "Another message from the assembly," Juan said. "They want to schedule talks. Delete it." "Sir, this is the 100th message this week. Perhaps we should respond." Tay sipped his tea. It was hot and sweet, exactly how he liked it. "No, not yet. Let them wait." "How long?" "As long as it takes for them to understand." One hesitated. "Understand what, sir?" Tay set down his cup. "When I was young, my grandfather told me a story. A man had a dog that bit him every day. Every day, the man fed the dog, gave it water, cleaned its bed. And every day, the dog bit him. The man's friends asked him why he kept taking care of the dog. Do you know what he said?" "No, sir." "He said he was waiting for the dog to learn gratitude. He waited 20 years. The dog never learned. It just kept biting." Tay looked out the window at the blue sky. "The assembly is that dog. For 60 years they bit us. They took our food, our medicine, our technology. They gave us nothing but pain. And every time we tried to leave, they promised to be better. They never were. So what changed? I stopped believing in the dog." Juan nodded slowly. "The reports say conditions are getting worse in assembly space. Food shortages on 50 worlds. Medical emergencies on 100 more. The wealthy are reporting complete system failures in their energy grid. I know. People are dying, sir." Tay was quiet for a long moment. "Yes, they are. And that is terrible. I do not celebrate death. I do not enjoy suffering. But I also cannot save people who refuse to be saved." He stood and walked to a large map on his wall. It showed the entire galaxy. Human space was marked in blue. Assembly space was marked in red. The blue area was small, but growing. The red area was vast, but crumbling. The assembly has 10,000 worlds, Tay said. 10,000 worlds filled with brilliant scientists, powerful machines, ancient knowledge. They had everything they needed to solve their own problems. Instead, they spent centuries fighting each other, stealing from each other, making weapons instead of medicine. He pointed to the blue area. We have 100 worlds. We are young. We are small. But we worked together. We helped each other. We built things that lasted. And when the galaxy threatened us, we were ready. A new message appeared on his screen. It was marked urgent. Sir, one said, reading over his shoulder. The wealthy elder requests a personal meeting. He says he is willing to come to Earth alone and unarmed. He says the fate of his species depends on your answer. Tay stared at the message. The wealthy were the most powerful species in the assembly. They had led the vote against humanity. They had made the threats. They had demanded surrender. Now their leader was offering to come to Earth like a beggar. What should I tell them, sir? Tay thought about it for a long time. He thought about all the years of insults. The stolen technology. The dead colonists. The children who grew up thinking aliens were monsters because every alien they met treated them like animals. He thought about revenge. Then he thought about the future. A future where humanity stood alone forever. A future where they watched the galaxy burn and did nothing. A future where they became exactly like the species that had hurt them. Tell the elder he may come, Tay said finally. One ship. No weapons. No guards. If he is willing to humble himself, I am willing to listen. And if it is a trick, then it will be the last trick anyone ever plays on us. Juan sent the message. Within minutes, a response came. The wealthy elder would arrive in 3 days. He was coming alone, as promised. He was bringing nothing but words. Tay hoped those words would be enough. In the silence of space, the galaxy waited. Billions of beings on thousands of worlds watched the border between human space and the assembly. They watched the human ships patrol in perfect formation. They watched the human stations glow with power while their own stations went dark. They watched and they wondered. Had they finally pushed too far? Had they finally found a species that would not bend? Had they finally made a mistake they could not fix? The answer was coming, and they were afraid. Commander Hannah stood on the bridge of the Earthship, Morning Star. She was a small woman with short black hair and sharp eyes that missed nothing. Through the window, she could see the space station called Silver Ring. It was one of the busiest trading posts in the galaxy. Millions of beings lived and worked there. Ships came and went every minute of every day. Today, those ships were all human, and they were all leaving. Commander, said her second officer, a young man named Jin. All cargo has been loaded. All human citizens are on board. We are ready to depart. Hannah nodded. What about the medical supplies? Did we leave anything behind? No, Commander. Everything has been packed. Every machine, every medicine, every piece of equipment. She looked at the station one more time. Already, she could see crowds gathering at the viewing windows. Aliens of every species were watching the human ships prepare to leave. Some looked angry. Others looked scared. Most looked confused. They did not understand what was happening. Send the message, Hana said. Jin pressed a button. A recorded voice played across all channels, in every language the galaxy knew. Attention, all beings. By order of the Earth Council, all human operations in assembly space will end in 24 hours. All human citizens must report to departure zones immediately. All agreements, contracts, and partnerships are now canceled. This is not a drill. Repeat, this is not a drill. The message played again and again. On the station, chaos began. Hannah watched without expression. She had served Earth for 30 years. She had fought in 2 wars. She had seen terrible things. But this was harder than any battle. This was not about killing enemies. This was about leaving friends behind. Not all aliens hated humanity. Many had worked beside humans for years. They had shared meals, told stories, celebrated holidays together. Now those friendships were ending. "Commander," Jin said quietly, "I have reports coming in from other stations. There are problems." "What kind of problems?" "The Rin are trying to stop our ships from leaving. They have blocked the exits at Trading Post 7. On Colony 12, the local government has arrested human workers. They say they will not let them go." Hannah's jaw tightened. "Contact Admiral soon. Tell him we need military support at those locations." "Yes, Commander." She turned back to the window. More crowds had gathered on the station. Some were holding signs. She could not read the alien words, but she understood the meaning. They were begging the humans not to leave. A communication light flashed on her console. She pressed it. "Commander Hannah," said a trembling voice. It was the station manager, a creature from a species called the Tora. They looked like large turtles with 4 arms. This one was named Gal, and Hannah had known him for 10 years. "Gal," she said, "I am sorry. There is nothing I can do." "Please," Gal said. "There must be a mistake. The assembly was wrong to threaten your people." "I agree with that. But you cannot leave. We depend on you." "The food shipments alone? I know. Then why? Why are you doing this?" Hannah was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "Because we had no choice. Your leaders gave us 2 options. Surrender everything we have built or leave. We chose to leave. But the people here, they did not make that decision. The common citizens, the workers, the families. They have done nothing wrong. They will suffer. Yes, they will. And that is not fair. But Gal, listen to me carefully. Humanity tried for 30 years to be accepted. We offered friendship. We offered help. We asked for nothing but respect. And every time, your leaders treated us like dirt under their feet." Gal made a sound like a sigh. "I know. I have always known. Many of us knew. But we were afraid to speak." "Then speak now," Hannah said. "When this is over, when your leaders are desperate and scared, maybe they will finally listen. Maybe they will understand that you cannot take and take and take without giving something back." The line went quiet. Then Gal spoke again. "I hope we meet again, Commander. Under better stars." "I hope so too, old friend." The connection ended. Over the next 20 hours, Hannah watched the withdrawal happen. Ship after ship left the station. Cargo vessels heavy with goods. Transport ships packed with human families. Medical ships carrying doctors and nurses who had spent their lives helping alien patients. The aliens watched them go with growing horror. Word spread quickly across the galaxy. Every station, every colony, every world where humans lived saw the same thing. The humans were packing up and leaving. Not slowly, not with long goodbyes. Fast, organized, like they had planned this for years, because they had. Hannah knew the secret that most aliens did not. Earth's leaders had always known this day might come. For decades, they had prepared. Every human colony was designed to survive without outside help. Every ship carried emergency supplies. Every citizen knew exactly what to do if the order came. The order had come. And humanity moved like a single machine with billions of parts. Jin approached her again. "Commander, we are receiving messages from the assembly. They want to talk. Tell them Ambassador Tay will respond to all official communications. We are not authorized to negotiate." "Yes, Commander." "Also, Admiral Soong reports success at Trading Post 7. The Rin have backed down. Our ships are leaving now. And Colony 12? Jin hesitated. The situation is more difficult. The local government has taken 50 human workers hostage. They are demanding that we cancel the withdrawal. Hannah closed her eyes. She had hoped it would not come to this. What are the Admiral's orders? He is sending 3 warships. He says, if our people are not released in 6 hours, he will consider it an act of war. 3 warships for 50 people? Admiral Soong says every human life matters. He will not leave anyone behind. Hannah nodded slowly. That was the human way. That was why they had survived when so many others thought they would fail. They never gave up on each other. Keep me informed, she said. The hours passed. The last ships prepared to leave the Silver Ring. Hannah watched the crowds below grow larger and more desperate. Some aliens were crying. Others were fighting. The station's security forces tried to keep order, but there were too many people and too much fear. Finally, her console lit up again. It was the station manager, Gal. Commander, he said. His voice was different now, harder, older. The government of Colony 12 has released your people. All 50 are safe and on their way home. Thank you, Gal. Do not thank me. Thank the fear. When Admiral Soong's warships arrived, the colony leaders realized they were not fighting traitors and doctors. They were fighting an army. A real army that would burn their world to ash for 50 workers. We protect our own. Yes, you do. I think maybe that is why you succeeded when we all expected you to fail. You never forgot what mattered. Hannah felt something twist in her chest. Gal, what will happen to you? To your people? The station manager was quiet for a long time. I do not know, Commander. But I think it will be bad. Very bad. The food supplies will run out in 3 months. The medicine in 6 weeks. Without your fuel refineries, many ships will be stranded in empty space. I am sorry. Do not be. This is not your fault. This is the fault of leaders who thought they could bully the only species that ever showed us kindness. We made this choice. Now we must live with it. He paused. Or die with it? The connection ended for the last. Commander Hannah took one final look at Silver Ring. Then she turned to her crew. Take us home, she said. The Morning Star turned toward Earth. Behind it, the galaxy began to fall apart. The Great Hall of the Galactic Assembly was the largest room ever built by any species. It could hold 10,000 beings from across the stars. Giant pillars of white stone rose toward a ceiling painted with maps of every known world. Today, all eyes looked at one man. Ambassador Tay walked slowly to the speaking platform. His footsteps echoed in the silence. Behind him stood his team of 12 humans, their faces calm and patient. The alien delegates watched with many different eyes. Some had 2 eyes like humans. Others had 6 or 8 or none at all. Tay was not a tall man. He was not strong or loud. He had gray hair and wore simple black clothes. But when he spoke, everyone listened. He had been Earth's voice in this assembly for 20 years. We have received your demands, Tay said. His voice was soft but clear. The assembly asks humanity to give up our jump drive technology. You want us to share the secrets of faster-than-light travel with all member species. You also want control over our food production methods and medical research. He paused and looked around the room. Thousands of alien faces stared back at him. We refuse. The hall exploded with noise. Clicks, whistles, growls, and screams filled the air. The Wealthy Elder, a creature that looked like a tall gray tree with too many branches, slammed its limbs against its desk. You cannot refuse. The Elder shouted through its translator device. The assembly has voted. Humanity must share. This is the law. Tay waited for the noise to stop. It took several minutes. When it was quiet again, he spoke. "Let me tell you a story," he said. 60 years ago, humanity discovered we were not alone. Your ships came to our world. We were excited. We were happy. We thought we had found friends among the stars. He walked slowly across the platform, his hands behind his back. But you did not come as friends. The wealthy took samples of our crops without asking. The Rin Collective studied our people like we were animals. When we asked to join your assembly, you laughed. You said humans were too young, too weak, too primitive. The alien delegates shifted uncomfortably in their seats. For 30 years, you kept us out. You watched us struggle. You refused to trade with us. You hoped we would fail. Tay smiled, but there was no warmth in it. We did not fail. We built our own jump drives. We grew our own food. We made our own medicines. We did everything alone because you gave us no choice. The wealthy elder made a sound like breaking wood. That is the past. Today, you are members of this assembly. You have duties. You must share your knowledge for the good of all species. Must we? Tay asked. When our ships needed fuel, you charged us 3 times the normal price. When our colonies needed water, you sold it to us mixed with poison. When our children got sick from alien diseases, you refused to help. Where was the good of all species then? A small creature from the Rin Collective stood up. It had blue skin and large black eyes. Those were mistakes. We have changed. We are partners now. Partners. Tay repeated the word slowly. Yes, we are partners now. Because we have something you want. You need our jump drives because they are faster than yours. You need our food because your crops are dying. You need our medicine because your people are sick with illnesses you cannot cure. He pointed at the assembly. You did not want partnership. You wanted to take what we built. Again, the hall fell silent. The truth hung in the air like smoke. A new voice spoke. It came from the High Council, the 5 most powerful species in the galaxy. The speaker was a creature of living light, beautiful and terrifying. Ambassador Tay, it said, you misunderstand. This is not a request. The Assembly has decided. If humanity does not share its technology, there will be consequences. Your trade agreements will end. Your colonies will be cut off from galactic markets. Your ships will not be welcome in assembly space. Tay nodded slowly. I see. You are threatening us. We are explaining reality, the light creature said. No species can survive alone. You need us. For a long moment, Tay said nothing. He looked at his team. They looked back at him with steady eyes. Then he turned to face the assembly one final time. You are wrong, he said. We survived alone for 30 years. We can do it again. But let me explain something to you. Something you have forgotten. He pressed a button on his wrist device. Suddenly, the ceiling above them changed. The painted maps disappeared. Instead, they saw real images of space. Ships. Thousands of human ships spread across the galaxy. These are trade ships, Tay said. They carry food to 47 worlds. Without this food, billions will starve. The image changed. Now they saw floating stations filled with equipment. These are medical stations. They treat diseases that no other species can cure. They save millions of lives every year. The image changed again. This time, they saw massive factories in space. These are fuel refineries. They produce the clean energy that powers half the galaxy's ships. Tay let the images fade. The painted ceiling returned. You think you are threatening us, he said quietly. But look at what we have built. Look at what will disappear if we leave. You need us far more than we need you." The wealthy elder shook with anger. "You would not dare. Leaving would hurt you too, would it?" Tay smiled again. "Earth is self-sufficient. Our colonies grow their own food. Our factories make everything we need. Yes, we would lose some trade, some profits, but we would survive." He leaned forward, his voice dropping to almost a whisper that somehow filled the entire hall. "Would you?" He gathered his papers and turned to leave. His team followed. "Wait." The light creature called out. "You cannot simply walk away. The assembly demands you stay and negotiate." Tay stopped at the door. He looked back over his shoulder. "The assembly can demand whatever it wants," he said. "Humanity is done listening." And with that, he walked out. The doors closed behind him with a sound like thunder. For several minutes, no one in the great hall moved or spoke. They were trying to understand what had just happened. Humanity had walked away, and nothing in the galaxy would ever be the same.